Sorry I kept you waiting forever and a day, but now we're out here together with nothing standing in our way. Can you feel the attraction? Feel the attraction. Can you feel it between us? This energy's inside us like electricity. Feel the love running through like electricity. Feel the love running through like electricity. Like electricity. Taking over your body, it's flowing through your mind. This feeling's got me on fire. Don't ever leave it all behind. Can you feel the attraction? Feel the attraction. Can you feel it between us? This energy's inside us like electricity. Feel the love running through like electricity. Feel the love. Can you feel me?
I'm walking alone, the streets are empty. The only thing I can see is my own silhouette. I'm getting stronger, step by step. The clock is ticking, but there's no time for regrets. I've been flying from town to town, from London to Taiwan. I've been all around the globe trying to protect your soul. We are heroes tonight. We will fly above the sky. We are heroes tonight. Yeah. We are heroes tonight. We will fly above the sky. We are heroes tonight. Feel like a dynamite, ready to explode right up in the sky. I need you to listen, I need you to hear, and don't show any fear. I've been flying from town to town, from London to Taiwan. I've been all around the globe trying to protect your soul. We are heroes tonight. We will fly above the sky. We are heroes tonight. Yeah. Simon. I've been all around the globe trying to protect your soul.
I fell and lost to the war. Shot me dead. I was lost and I said to the voices in my head, I gotta get up again. I gotta get up to another day. I'm not giving up again. I gotta get up. I gotta get up. Giving up again. I gotta get up. I gotta get up. I'm gonna get up Look into my eyes. My heart beats like a drum. You listen to my lies. Love is far to come. Your love is far. Running at the speed of light, kissing under city lights. Calls me in this point in time, but it just goes on. Running at the speed of light, kissing under city lights. Calls me in this point in time, but it just goes on. Gotta get up again. I gotta get up to another day. I'm not giving up again. I gotta get up. I gotta get up. I gotta get
What's going on, traders? Welcome. What's that? That's better. How we doing today? What's going on? My chat box looks all messed up. Oh, when did I make this my chat box? What the hell? I've never seen that my whole life. How are we doing today? I tried something new and then it kind of got messed up, but it's okay. How we doing tonight, everybody? We have a poll in chat if you guys want to go ahead and hit it up. Were you green today, red, sitting on hands, or even on the day? We'd love to see how you did. I got Rhodesa on the line here, and we're going to check out various option strategies. We can talk about any questions you guys have for options, charting, things like that. We're going to kind of get into it tonight. So let me hop into voice with them, and we'll start things off here. What's going on, Rhodesa? How you doing? Can you hear me? What's up, Colonel? Just a quick shout out to Deb for the 11 months of Tier 1. Let's go. And Dowdy Dibs for 9 months. Thank you so much for the continuous support. Thank you, J Money, Hell Enemy. Thank you for the follows. I'm not sure if he can hear me, but it's okay. Let me show you guys where to find him. I don't know why my my chat box is so messed up. How's your day today, guys? Looks like 50% green on the day. So I'm just going to pull up his Twitter here.
Hey, 100, are you able to hear me?
Yep, I can hear you now. Can you hear me?
Hey, 100, could you hear me?
Oh, no. What did I do? Oh, I clicked the wrong thing.
100.
Yeah, I can hear you. I don't think you can. Wait, hang on. Okay. Yeah, I can hear you. You can't hear me. Okay, one sec. I'm going to DM him.
Hey, what's up, man? Are you able to hear me?
I can hear you. Yes. I'm going to DM him. One sec.
We're all good?
Can you hear me, though? I can't hear you. What's going on, White Goodman? How you doing? Sorry, I'm DMing him on the side.
Testing.
Hey, I can hear you. Let me jump out and I'll jump back in. I don't know what's happening. Okay. Did that work? Can you hear me now? Oh, he deafened. Chat's in the wrong place. All my stuff got messed up. Oh my god, dude. There we go.
Hey, 100, could you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, could you hear me clearly? I had to go on my phone. It looks like my audio on the computer isn't working.
Okay. No, yeah, I could hear you before. I just don't think you could hear me.
Yeah, okay, I don't know what the problem was there. But if we're good here, we can continue on this.
Yeah, no, that's fine with me if that's okay with you.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, sweet. Sorry for the trouble.
Oh, yeah, no problem. That's my fault.
No, you're good. Welcome, everybody. We got Rhodesa on the line here. We're just going to be talking about kind of the market, options, charting, different intraday strategies that we're using. And if you guys have any questions at any point, please at myself or Enlightenment Trading in chat, and we will get to those questions as it becomes appropriate. Thanks for joining me tonight, Rhodesa. Always a pleasure to have you on. It's been a while, man. What's new? What's going on in your life?
Yeah, things are good. Right now, I'm really just focused on the mentorship program that I have and trying to maneuver through this market. I know some people have been having a tough time.
100%, man. How's the mentorship program been going?
Very good. Yeah, this is, I believe, my 4th session now.
Okay.
doing my best to help everyone that I can. I am not naive, though. I know that there are some people I won't be able to help, whether that be them not understanding my form of teaching or whatever the matter might be. And that sometimes upsets me, but it's just what I have to work with, you know?
No, 100%, man. And, you know, like maybe your trading style doesn't, you know, properly line up with someone else's, or you guys don't see eye to eye and stuff like that. And that's going to happen. But from what I can see, there's tons of success. I think you're doing awesome stuff out there, man.
Shit, how have you been?
I've been good. I've been kind of working on my own sort of style. I've been in Maple Stack's room a lot. I actually trade very similar to him. So he's been kind of helping me. I've been taking some trades in there and hanging out in this Discord here as well that we're in right now. Other than that, work is busy, man. Like I'm doing 12-hour shifts and trading, so it's a pain in the ass. So like I missed trading one of the days this week just because I was busy, just working. So that always sucks, but you know it is what it is, and that's one of my strengths. If anyone is in chat wondering how to trade and kind of do your job at the same time, that's something that I've kind of gotten used to. But that's kind of how it's going in my life these days.
Yeah, there's regarding Maple Stacks, I need to reach out to him too. I really don't know what his strategy is nowadays. I remember speaking to him in Atlas. He's part of the generation group that we created,
Yeah.
but he's one of the only ones I haven't really reached out to as of lately.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah, no, he's doing great. Like his room's popping. It's a nice positive space, so I'm having a lot of fun in there. But yeah, let's talk more about yourself and kind of how you've been navigating the market. And I don't know if you want to, you can share your screen and we can kind of go over maybe some trades you took today or this week that you're kind of proud of, or that kind of showcases how your styles changed since you started your mentorship. I think that'd be super interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. Do I just share it to the Discord channel?
Yep, that's fine. White Cummins like, yeah, sounds like he's on his flip phone.
Yeah, I don't know. Do you know how to bypass the problem with not being able to hear you?
Maybe in your audio settings, maybe it's defaulting to audio on your phone or something like that. I don't know if you have headphones for your PC. I know like sometimes it'll default to weird stuff when you switch equipment.
Oh, that must be it, because I'm normally not on Bluetooth with my laptop, but
Okay.
the other day I had put it on there.
Gotcha.
I don't know. Is it a quick fix? Could I do it right now?
Yeah, it'll take a few seconds to try if you want to try it.
Yeah, let me see.
Should just be in settings there.
But yeah, overall, how have you been doing with the market lately?
Pretty good. I got burned the other day on a trade I took on what was it? I think it was AMD or something. I don't remember exactly what it was, but in general, not bad, honestly. It's been kind of like a ranging market, so I feel like I've been doing better buying into demand rather than waiting for demand to snap. Or like breakout trading, I guess, for example. I've been finding more success not breakout trading and kind of buying into demand, selling into supply. So that's kind of what I've been sticking to, and usually I get 1 to 2 trades in while I'm at work, and then I kind of go about my day. If anyone is struggling to trade at work, a good strategy that I would probably recommend is to use your stop loss and profit takers as you take the trade. If you don't have a stop loss, you don't have a trade. So that's what I would kind of do going into that. And then you can kind of go back to work and go about your day. And the way you set your price targets is just to look for that key level or that key supply. And that's kind of what I've been doing. I have a bit more time at my job. I work at a water quality facility, so I have time to sit down and kind of stare at the trade. But if you don't, that's, you know, kind of a powerful strategy that you can take advantage of.
Yeah, I've been learning a lot from a lot of the full-time traders that I mentor, or not full-time traders, full-time workers that I mentor. And I've realized at the end of the day, they have a heavy disadvantage in trading the market.
It's tough.
First of all, they're not really getting as much screen time as your average 20-year-old who's cheating through online school, right, where they can just sit in front of the screen all day. I do know some people were fortunate to be able to trade with the COVID era going on, and they're working at home and trading, but it's very tough because some people, they can only enter the day during random times. Sometimes
Right.
it's at 2 p.m., sometimes that's at 11 a.m. And not every day is power hour a thing. I think that's more of a thing of the past, to be completely honest, with the
Right.
way the market is right now. But they're at a heavy disadvantage. So anyone who is trying to trade with a full-time job and might not be as successful as they want to be with how much time they put into it, you do have to realize that you're swimming up a steeper upstream hill.
100%. Yeah, it's hard to oh, I got 5 minutes here. I just finished this assignment at work or whatever, and be like, okay, let's look for a setup. Like, it's not always going to be there. So it's definitely tough to kind of do that. That's why, I try to get into trade early on. Like, first 15 minutes towards 10 o'clock is usually when I try to enter something. And I do what I can to push my work kind of back a bit, just so I can actually take some trades and make some money. But it is a struggle. So I do feel for those working, especially those working busier jobs. Yeah. Does anyone in chat have any experience with working and kind of trading? Is that relatable? Started trying to find time to study and learn. No, exactly, Deb. Deb's like, yes. And some of this in school? Yeah. I trade while working. Deb's going to quit her job this year. That's the plan. Me and Deb are going to quit together.
Do it right now.
Right now? Deb $1 million? That's right. How's it?
I'm sorry for the delay. I restarted the computer. I think that's the only way that I typically am able to fix this.
Okay.
But yeah, I used to recommend to full-time traders, or I'm sorry, for full-time workers to swing trade, and that was back when the market was more in an uptrend.
Right.
And more so when I was a small cap trader, when things were a lot better than they are now for small caps. There's definitely ways to make money as a full-time trader, and some of the biggest pieces of advice that I have is to focus on sector strength. Your best bet will be to be a swing trader, strictly due to the fact that when it comes to intraday trading, especially if you're in a situation where you can only come to the market at certain periods of the day that are very random, like we were saying earlier, there's no real set time of, runners typically run at 12 p.m. on a Wednesday, so I'll clear my schedule for Wednesday at 12 p.m., right? There's nothing that you can base on something like that. So that's why I recommend swing trading and really figuring out which sectors are either strong or are weak, right? Because you were mentioning earlier how the market's been a little bit more range based, but there's definitely sectors out there that are continuously hitting all-time highs and all-time lows, and it's good to trade a directional sector than it is to trade something that might be ranging more so.
And his name is John C.
Sorry, Colonel's he's playing the sound alerts. I'm gonna turn them off. One sec. He just dropped a John Cena. All right, I'm gonna turn off the loud ones. You guys still get the cha-chings and the knife and stuff. How's?
Let me see what you have. No!
Yeah, that's fine. Sounds fine. How's it on your end there, Rhodesa? Did you get the screen share set up?
Currently loading up Discord. That's
okay.
the disadvantage. Do you trade with a laptop or a desktop?
I trade actually off my phone, which
Yeah, no problem with that.
Yeah, which I don't
Do you
recommend.
have like a home setup?
Yes, I do. I have a monitor with a PC, and then I have a laptop beside me here as well. So I kind of have a 3-monitor setup, but between a phone, a laptop, and a PC.
Yeah, there was a while where I looked into some PCs. And sometimes I'm too mobile, and I don't like sitting at my station. Sometimes I'll be at my girlfriend's house or traveling, and I don't know. I didn't really want to buy a PC. The laptop works fine.
Yeah, no,
I use a laptop to trade.
100%. I've been doing some gaming too, so the PC was cool. It's expensive though, man.
Yeah, especially with the chips.
Yeah, 100%. Mine was like, I think 3,500 or something. Jesus.
Need to make sure I can hear you. I think you're.
Can you hear me?
Could you say something?
Yeah, I'm saying something right now. Oh no.
Damn, bro, I don't want to like.
That
cancel.
sucks.
I guess we can. Yeah, because the problem is I can't share my screen with you because I'm on Discord on my phone, and if I try to do the screen share on desktop, then I can't hear you. I currently can't hear you right now. If you want to DM
Right.
me, we can figure this out.
Okay. I'll DM you. I'll DM on Twitter. Hang on. Tell him in Discord, voice and video, then output device. No more sounds. I'm getting pissed off. No, I'm cool. I'm good. Voice and video, then output device. How's everybody doing? Are we all good? So we're trying to sort through this here. This hasn't happened before. This is a first on the show. What we'll do in the meantime is let's see if we can get the highest prediction on Hundo Bucks for the coin flip. I'm gonna start a coin flip while we're waiting. I can walk through my trades really quick as well. What I did today. I only took 2 trades, so that'll only take a second. Okay, coin flip going live. Put in your Hundo Bucks. These like 0 DTEs for me. I can't touch them. Any ideas in chat? What else? What could we? I'm trying to think of something that we could call on, but Rhodesa could share his screen through like Discord, but will be on call somewhere else, or if there's like a different setting he could use. Because I guess he's on a laptop. You follow Maple today? He killed it? No, I didn't have time to be in Maple's room. I was really busy at work. Oh, you're doing anything? Your computer's just bugging. Okay. Sorry, I'm DMing Rhodesa here. Who's trying to rug me on heads? I'm going to see if maybe we can Zoom call. But essentially, I was long forward today. I basically I did 2 scalps today. This one in the morning, right here into demand off of, what time is this? Like 9:50. And then I also did AMD early in the morning out of this demand. So we kind of broke it and then based in here. And I scalped this move right here. He can be on speakerphone? Yeah, I could do speakerphone, I guess. What's the demand script? So if you guys are interested in the demand script, that's it right there. Essentially, it charts supply and demand instantaneously. Okay, he says it's his computer. So maybe... What else could we do? Sorry, guys. Just trying to figure this out here. Yeah, no problem. You can be on phone speaker and share the screen. Yeah, I guess we could do that. Okay, we're going to try to sort through this here. Sorry, everybody. Just tell him to drive to my house. Can you make one of those Twitter rooms? We might be able to do that, but then we can't share his screen. That's all. So I think what we're going to do is he's going to go on voice on his phone, and then I'm going to display the charts on my end. I'm going to see if that's okay. Oh, shit. He says it's back. Let's go. Why are cows such great dancers? Deb, can you fill the room with comedy, please? Can you do some stand-up while we're sorting this out in the back end? Let's flip the coin. Everybody got your votes in? Okay, this is something we do on stream when the market's dead and we're live trading. So let's do a countdown here. Three, 2, 1. That's gonna be heads, but we do best of 3, okay? Oh shit! He said okay. He said never mind. It's not. Okay, round 2. 3, 2, 1. Flip. Oh my god! It's heads. Rugged. Wait, what? Bro, where did the prediction go? Oh, someone already did it for me. Oh, thanks. I can hear Twitch on desktop, then I can't hear you on Discord. Okay, that's trippy. Let me leave and come. Or you know what? Let's use. Where should I drag him? Let's drag him to Darklink Trades. I'm gonna hop in there. Can you hear me in this channel instead?
Hey, what's up?
Can you hear me in this one?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Hey, at least it's working.
Yeah, okay. That's weird. Colonel, why would it do that? Maybe that's a setting issue on my end. That's so strange. Anyway, okay, let's carry on then.
Yeah, sorry about the delay.
No, that's fine. That's super weird.
Yeah, I've never had that on Discord. Let me share my screen with you, yeah?
Yeah, that's fine. I don't know what happened with the prediction, guys, in chat. Everyone who voted. I go to end the prediction, and it's not letting me end it. It asks me to start a new one, so none of you are getting your money. I actually don't know what happened. Unless I just do, like... So can you do screen share now, then?
Yeah, I'm currently logging into Thinkorswim.
Okay, sick. No worries.
Well, thank everyone for their patience.
Yeah.
What was the poll you just did?
I did a coin flip. So we did heads or tails. Heads won, and I can't end the flip now. Hey, I got bounced and couldn't save that S&D script. Can you send it again? Yep, there it is. Thanks, Colonel.
All right, let me share this screen with you. Finally.
Sweet.
All right, you should be live.
Awesome. Okay, we're good. We're finally in. Good Lord, I might have a drink after that, man.
Sounds like a good idea.
What the hell? Okay, let's get into it. So, what are you going to show us? Maybe some trades you took today?
Yeah, we can go over. My nicest trade today was on MU.
Okay.
All right, so we can just break this down. So, what I typically like to start with is going from the higher time frames to the lower time frames. How I found this stock was based off of an intraday setup, and it was this one right here. So we have this range, and it would have been an A+ range if this bottom held cleanly, but it didn't. Why I still consider it a very good range though is because when it did break to the downside, it came right back up. So with that being said, I saw this. My entry was on the 89.76 break. I do not wait for 1 minute retests. I do not wait for 1 minute candles to close. I do not wait for 5 minute candles to close. I get in as soon as it breaks, so as long as the context is right. So let's go look at the context of this trade. So at 11:01 a.m. is when this had broke. Now we need to go look at VIX and see what VIX was doing at 11:01. 11:02, we'll call it. We'll call it even. All right, so we can see here that the intraday trend for VIX was in a downtrend. So that typically means whatever stock I am trading, I want to trade something that's strong and above VWAP. So here we had a very nice push down, a nice move up too. What then happened was that in the big picture, this created a lower high, right? This being the most recent, most relevant high to base this off of. All right, then we move down here, looking to break down this, right? Because now we're looking at trend structure. If you want a clearer view of this or a different view of this, one where you might be more familiar with seeing it, you can always flip to the inverse chart, yeah? Though it's just an uptrend on the inverse chart. Here's a low, here's a high, here's a higher low. We did try to push here, yeah? We did try to push here to get a higher high, but it decided to hold the double bottom instead. With that being said, we needed to be prepared for what could happen next. In my opinion, what the most likely scenario would be for it to go create another higher low, right? Or again, we can go back to the regular chart, and that would be a lower high.
Gotcha.
Right, so the trend is still indeed down. What we need to realize, though, is that the trend could indeed reverse here, right? If it decides to, if this were to decided to get like oops, how do I draw this? A higher low here, right? This being the low and the higher low, then we would see maybe the trend could reverse. But right now we're just playing the trend, and to me it was still saying that it was down. So this brings into question something that I will never trade. I will never really trade. We don't really have to talk about this too much, but double tops I will only trade on the breakout of them. Same thing with double bottoms, right? So this is a double bottom on the regular chart. The reason why is because those are actually very strong bullish and bearish patterns. Until they are actually broke, only then is it a bullish scenario. So that's, in this case, it's a little bit different because we're speaking on VIX. If it was a regular stock, then it would be a different case. But and sometimes you can anticipate it, but for the most part, I will only trade the break of a double top or a double bottom, because until that break occurs, it is going to be still in trend for the other direction.
Gotcha.
Or it's going to try to reverse the trend. But moving on here, we did have a nice double top break. You can actually consider it a very bad ascending triangle, in my opinion. So an ascending triangle is a series of higher lows mixed in with the flat top. So you can consider that as well. But that is where this MU break occurred, right? So 1102 right here, 1102. So good context, right? Because you can have a very nice setup with very bad context, and that setup's not going to go if VIX doesn't have range to it. So let's go look at the range that we are working with on VIX. Let's go to the 5-minute time frame and use yesterday's levels. So I'm not looking at anything below this 31.7 level, and all I'm doing is going to look at the lower high resistance levels. That is all I'm doing. I'm not going and putting a fucking level here, a level here, a level here, a level here, right? Some people will do that. I have no idea why. If it works for them, it works for them, but I think that is a complete waste of time. But yeah, we're just looking at the lower high levels. The same is true for support. You're going to want to be looking at the higher low levels. So we get this break, and what starts to happen? We do see some struggle to get over this, or to get below this 31 level, yeah? And what starts to happen? It pulls back, it starts to consolidate. So in the chat too, I actually traded, I believe it was it was AMD off of this. So we have another great range break flag, right? It's flagging and it's ranging, a range break flag. So we have continuous momentum just pushing to the downside. I am not looking to short anything. I'm really just looking to continue to ride this. Now we can go into the talk about how do you scale? How do you get out? How do you get in here and get out there? I love the 9 and 20 EMA. The 9 on my chart is going to be represented by this turquoise blue line, and the 20 EMA is going to be represented by this white, or this turquoise line and this white line right here.
Gotcha.
So you can see from the breakout, whether you added right at it a little bit before or a little bit after, you're going to be riding it up fairly nicely until it breaks the 9 and 20 EMA on the 1-minute time frame. But if you can see here on the 5-minute time frame, you're golden still, right? I didn't expect MU to have as big of a move as this, but I managed my position accordingly, right? We have to adapt, or we have to react to what the price action is doing. And so I took out the majority of my position when it started to break the 9 and 20 EMA on the 1 minute. And I left 25% to ride. How did I ride that? I used the 5 EMA this time, right? The 5 and 20 EMA. And I had cut the most of my position, or all of the rest of my position over here. I'm not overnighting this. But how do you know to trust those levels, or to know that it was gonna go that high, or that it had the possibility of going that high? So like I said earlier, I like to start with the higher time frame and then work down from there. On this higher time frame, I didn't really see anything that would have made me have a higher time frame thesis, meaning I wanted to get in based on the higher time frame. No, it was an intraday chart setting. That was the thesis for me. But I need to understand the higher time frame resistance levels. And the same thing we did with VIX, it's going to be the same here on MU. We're just going to go to the lower high resistance levels. This is the first one, right? Above this level, I mean, you have this one. You can draw. You have this one. You have this one. And then you have this one. We didn't know price was going to stop here. So what I would have done live is just go all throughout here, right? Because it, for sure, it could have gone to 97. I think it was definitely overextended, but I'd never put that past MU. MU is a very good personality stock to trade. But you can see here, right? If you don't even use EMAs, maybe you're not an EMA person, what you want to do is develop trust in your higher time frame levels. If it's going to break this level, see if it can get to your next lower high level, right? So that was the MU trade in a nutshell.
Gotcha. No, that's awesome. I just put out a tweet there just saying that we're back live. We fixed the issues. So has your strategy changed at all since the first time you were on the show? I noticed some of your time frames have hike and ashy candles and some don't. Can you talk a bit about that?
Yeah, so I used to trade exclusively with Hayek and Ashi candles, but due to how they're calculated, which is based off of an average of, I believe, the previous candle and the current candle, you'll have situations. So if you try to use it on an intraday chart, you'll have situations where, let's say for this example, it's not going to show that now because the candle is already closed and formed. It actually is showing a bit of a good example. But say right here, right? This candle closed right here, and then when you're watching it live, it's showing that it's actually like upper price rejection. And you're like, oh, what should I do, right? And then you have to go, flip back to the regular one, and there's really no point in doing that.
A lot of flipping.
It's not, yeah, and it's very, very hard to read price action.
Okay.
Using intraday HA candles, Heiken Ashi candles. So I do have that, but I do think that they are very clean to view. So let's say we're going through a watch list, right? What I then did when I figured out that, oh, I can't read price action off of HA candles. What I then did was I realized I do like HA candles. What I could do instead is when I'm scanning for stocks to trade, I can scan based off of Heiken Ashi candles. And as soon as we get to trading it, let's say I go find something like this and I'm like, oh, I like this setup. I'm going to go immediately to my regular 5-minute chart so I can read price action. And then I don't even have 5-minute Heiken Ashi candles anymore, any intraday Heiken Ashi candles now. And that's mainly due to the fact that in the mentorship, I noticed that Heiken Ashi candles, due to the fact that due to how they're calculated, some people don't have, the right extended trading hours data. Extended trading hours just meaning pre-market and post-market. We ran into a problem where we kept seeing different charts. So my screenshot of this chart with Heiken Ashi candles looked different than someone with TradingView. And the discrepancies were subtle, but it was still there. And for some brokerages, it was very different. And that is actually still true on the 1 and 4 hour time frame. That's not only for intraday time frames, but I still use it on the 1 and 4 hour time frame because I think it presents a very clear picture. It really rids the noise. Mm-hmm. And something to also speak on with my charts is I do have extended trading hours turned on for the 1 and 4 hour time frame. I am a firm believer that every single level is important. A lot of people will argue, oh, there's low volume traded on during extended trading hours. I'm not going to even include that, right? And then you get in situations where, what if you had earnings, right? That's obviously going to resemble a lot of supply and demand zones. Or what if you had good news in pre-market and post-market? Those are very important supply and demand zones, support and resistance levels to factor in. I've been going back and forth to a member in the chat, Sir Yoda. I always mess with him. He's a believer in the opposite, right? He hates having extended trading hours on.
Really? Okay.
And his perspective, I can understand, right? So I disagree with him, but I understand. He's going to be seeing entirely different setups than I am. But at the end of the day, both of them present similar opportunities, but at different times, right? We can be looking for the same range break flag, and he might see it on a day where I don't see it, right? Due to the fact that his charts don't have extended trading hours on. So, there's opportunities I'm missing with not having it on, and there's opportunities he's missing it with. There's opportunities he's missing with not having it on, and there's opportunities I'm missing. It just comes down to a different form Not really a different form of trading, but just different opportunities between the two.
And yeah, and a different style for your personality too, right? Like,
Yeah, yeah. I wish he was here so I could, or I wish I had a better understanding of, or a better recollection of what he said more so as to why he keeps him on. I think he likes trading. Like, I couldn't tell you accurately, but there are some other reasons why. But at the end of the day, they both present similar but different opportunities.
no, yeah, that's cool. That's really interesting.
But yeah, I was trading options when we first spoke on Twitch. Something interesting that I heard since then was that Maple transferred all of his strategies from small caps into trading large caps, and I thought that was very
Yes.
interesting because I completely different trading style for small caps and large caps for myself, and it was very interesting to see him do it successfully. Like I
Gotcha.
said, I don't know too much about his trading strategies nowadays. When he was in Atlas, he was fairly. I know he's still in Atlas, but when he was in Atlas, he was fairly quiet when I was there. He was always like working on houses and stuff like that. But yeah, I need to reach out to him. I'll make
No,
that
yeah,
note.
yeah, definitely. He's like similar to me. He's using the 9, the 20 EMAs. I think he has a third one, and then supply and demand. He uses a lot of pre-market levels too, for like breaking basing and things of that nature. The 200. Thank you. Oh, Bad Buddha is in here. He's also in the stacks house as well, and the
Yeah,
50 as well. I'm seeing. Okay.
Bad Buddha's good people.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Shout out. No, awesome. So, what are some kind of we covered a lot so far. What are kind of some intraday strategies or setups that you're looking for in this current market where, news is kind of unpredictable and stuff like that? What are some kind of safe intraday strategies that you're leaning on?
I really like to focus on stocks that have good higher time frames. So a lot of my intraday trades will be based on a higher time frame thesis, which is what I was going over earlier. So in the morning during my pre-market plan, I'll be looking at higher time frames like the daily, the 4-hour, and the 1-hour, on regular charts and on inverse charts as well. And the purpose of that is to make me see something without bias, right?
Right.
And sometimes there's days where I have a a lot of good inverse charts, and it ends up being a very bullish day, right? And in that case, I will abandon my higher time frame theses going into the day. And what I'll do is I'll start to look at 1-minute setups. Like for example, if everything, or if I was short on MU, or if I was short on everything else today, and I saw that MU was up, right? Because this is a stock that was up fairly strongly in the morning. I'd immediately note that. I'd be like, okay, MU is very strong today, and I'd flip to the 1-minute time frame, like I said, and abandon my 1-minute and my higher time frame theses that were short, and I'd look to trade something on the 1-minute time frame for MU. If I don't see anything on the 1-minute time frames, I'll go to the 5-minute time frame and wait for 5-minute setups. Some setups that I like are flags, ascending triangles, downtrend plays. But for the most part, generally speaking, I will not short above VWAP, and I will not long below VWAP.
Okay.
That's typically just me wanting to trade the trend. As you can see here, if we go to, let's just say SPY, right? You'll have a situation where the trend changes, right?
Mm-hmm.
It goes from being up and then immediately being down. So in a situation like this, I wouldn't look to short, so I wouldn't be in on this short down here. I wouldn't look to long right here, so I wouldn't be in on this play right here.
Right.
What I will do when I start to see price do that around VWAP is I'll be like, okay, hey, this is a pretty choppy chart. We can keep it on watch for the day for some patterns, because I know it's not always going to be choppy. But for right now, it's a pretty choppy chart. I'm going to go immediately look for something that's more directional. I don't care if that direction is up or down. I just want to trade something that's very, very strong in a trend. and that'll keep me from trading chop.
Yeah, no, for sure, man. That makes perfect sense.
Yeah. And that's what we were saying earlier when I was speaking on like full-time traders and trading something with a very strong or weak sector, right? You can do that on the 4-hour time frame. You can do that on the 1-hour time frame. You can do that on the daily time frame. A lot of people will avoid those stocks that are continuously, maybe not making all-time lows, but are definitely in a very steep downtrend. But they'll just dismiss it, and I think that's poor judgment. I think that you should see, hey, this is very downtrending. This could continue to downtrend, and there could be very great patterns presented within that downtrend, and take advantage of the fact that it's trending and not choppy, right? So that's why I don't like when people go to Twitter and it's like, oh, the market's choppy, today's choppy. It's because they're not looking for either higher time frames that are in an uptrend or downtrend, or they're not looking for intraday time frames that are in an uptrend or a downtrend. What they're doing is they're trading this shit, right?
Right.
This back shit, and you don't want to do that.
No, 100%. Deb in chat says one of her favorite quotes from you is, "It's only chop if you play the chop."
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And it's important to figure out how to avoid that. And in a nutshell, that's how you do it. Also, just understanding, some days I'm wrong in the direction of the stocks that I'm looking at for my pre-market plan. Speaking of that, the pre-market plan, I assume we all have one. I strongly believe that you should, if you have a list of, let's just say 30 tickers, and you narrow it down to 10 tickers, that's good. But be sure before open, you narrow that list down to 2 tickers, and
100%.
the other 8 tickers are your back burner plays, which could become your top play of the day, right? The others are like, oh, there's no entry signal here, or this went the wrong way, but this one's going the right way. Let's go focus on that one, right? I would recommend it narrowing down to at least 5, or at most 5. 10's a little hard to focus on. But I see too many people, they're posting like watch lists of 10 stocks without any sort of ranking to that 10, and I'm like, and then they post like an update later on it, and I'm like, okay, I don't know, there's just it's very hard to do that. I think that people aren't actually trading.
No, 100%. And the thing is too, especially if you're working a day job, like if you don't narrow that down, you're just gonna get like fucked basically.
Yeah, exactly.
Like today I was only looking at Ford and AMD, and I've been looking at Ford specifically because the contracts are a bit cheaper to get further out as well, and it is still, you can get good moves out of it still. So I've been really paying attention to that one. And you can kind of follow the trend's a bit slower, so it's easier to notice when it starts to go the other way on you. So I've been trading Ford a lot recently.
That was one of my biggest pet peeves when entering options. It was the fact that some contracts, in my case, it wasn't really a matter of affordability, but that's definitely a case for, I believe, not the majority of the market, but a lot of people, right? But affordability and the spread issues. Like a stock that I really loved the personality and studied for a few weeks is HD here.
Right.
HD, I love it. I think it presents great higher time frame patterns. I think it presents great intraday patterns on a consistent basis. So it has a good personality in my book. Problem is the spreads are absolute garbage. Doesn't matter if you trade weeklies, bi-weeklies, tri-weeklies, or monthlies. They're absolute garbage, which makes this not worthy of the stocks that I trade on an everyday basis. I mean, you can trade commons on it if you'd like, but I like to trade options more so.
Yeah, 100%. A couple things I want to cover today in our little chat is just general mentality. You post a lot of really great mentality posts, and I'd like to touch on small accounts as well, but we do have an interesting question from chat that kind of touches on both those topics. Rhodesa, could you, this is from Prince Tayer. I don't know if I said your name right, but Rhodesa, could you talk about how you don't trade zero DTEs and what contracts you like to play?
Yeah, absolutely. So the reason why I don't trade 0-day expirations is because For me, I like to size heavy on the positions that I'm trading. I spoke on before that if you can't full count the trade you're wanting to take, then you shouldn't take it. And I want to emphasize that that doesn't mean you should be full accounting every trade you want to take, but that does mean you really want to consider whether or not this is a good setup and a setup with good context. That's all I mean by that, right? Just to double check yourself.
Right.
But for 0 days, they're they're absolutely ridiculous. So if we go to like MU, um, let's just go to MU and let's just say you they can get really funny. So I don't know. This isn't the best example. Let me go to this QQQ.
I just like some of my experience with 0DTEs, like you end up guessing the move correctly, but maybe something happened where you're still red on the trade. And I remember just getting so pissed off with that. I don't really trade them anymore either.
Yeah, so what I was saying was you know, we get into theta decay, etc. And you can have a great entry. Like your entry
Right.
could be like right here, and then it drops a little bit more, and you're down 20%. If you're trying to trade with size, like that's just like what? It's just mind-boggling. You know, you just can't do that. So that's why I typically avoid it. But that's for me in my situation, though. I do understand that there are traders with not as big as an account size, and 0 days can be very beneficial to them because they can trade stocks that they otherwise might not be able to trade. For example, Tesla or Amazon, right? Those are fairly expensive contracts for a small account trader. On Fridays, they become more affordable to them. The problem is when we speak on 0 day contracts or far out of the money contracts, right? The cheap contracts.
Yeah.
When you're trading 0 day contracts, for a small account trader, you need to understand that risk is kind of going to be thrown out the door. You can't have a 7 to 15% stop loss on a 0 day, in my opinion. So you're going to need to be able to widen that stop loss to possibly even like 30% in some cases, right? Because it's stupid. You can have a very good entry and you're down 20%, like I said earlier. And they're very hard to manage in terms of risk. So you need to see the game a little bit differently. You need to see it as, okay, I'm a small account trader. If I want to play 0 days, I need to understand that I can't really respect a good, healthy risk management system. But what I could do is I could size down on these 0 days, and that'll enable me to be able to, hold a higher risk while staying in the trade, while respecting the underlying technicals, right? And that's why I typically don't like trading 0 days, because they just don't respect underlying technicals. Same thing with far out of the money trades. A lot of people see those as cheap, they're affordable, including myself. And then I realized with far out of the money trades, there's a few problems with far out of the money trades. For example, volume, and then you can get into a situation where it's a liquidity issue, and manipulation. A lot of people think large caps can't be manipulated, but if you have enough people trading in a far out of the money option, all I'm gonna say is
it's like a penny stock.
Yeah. And if you're wrong and price goes the other way, you are now further out of the money and your premiums will decline. It sometimes takes a big move for the premiums to increase, so your trade thesis can work out. But if you select too far out of the money contracts, your premium might not move when the price of the underlying goes up, but the premium will move down when the price of the underlying goes down. Another thing is, if the underlying price increases, it can increase the premium by a large amount, like 50% at times. But the slightest pullback can send it back to your entry or make that trade red on you, right? And then when you're trading far out of the money, again, low volume typically is going to mean iffy spreads too, so you have to worry about that.
Gotcha. Another topic I'd like to touch on is how to manage and kind of control your risk to reward and what exactly that means to you. I think a lot of traders hear that and they go, yeah, of course, but they don't actually know what it means or how to control it. And they just kind of get this like glazed look over their faces. If you could walk kind of through how you control and manage your risk to reward and what that means to you.
Yeah, so first of all, when trading option contracts, again, you just need to understand that the closer to expiration, the more volatile they're going to be, and the less they're going to respect the technicals of the underlying chart. So I like to trade contracts that mimic the underlying chart. Again, you're never going to have an exact replica of the underlying chart, but you're going to have choices of option contracts that are going to mimic it very closely, right? So that means that if you get a good entry, right, a low risk entry, or if you're trading the breakout, um, what that means is that you're going to be able to respect the risk of the underlying. Like, say for example, you were buying like this higher low dip here on QQQ. If you're trading 0 days and you don't get the exact bottom of this, again, you can be down 15-20% at times, right?
Right.
Or sometimes other factors about the Greeks could make that trade just horrible for you. So I like to choose contracts that are going to enable me to be able to base my risk based off of the underlying chart. For me, I will trade up to Thursday, or like if we're speaking on QQQ, SPY, IWM, and some of the other indexes, that there's three expirations per week.
Right.
There's Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Whenever I do trade QQQ or any of the indexes, I'm going to be selecting Friday all the time. I don't care for Mondays, I don't care for Wednesdays, it doesn't matter if it's Tuesday, and that's not considered a 0 day, right? Wednesday is. I'm always going to be trading Friday just like any other stock. But going into risk to reward, so some of my posts that I post on Twitter, I speak on low risk and high probability, right? You can have a million low risk trades where you're continuously stopping out at 7%, 7%, 8%, 9%, 10%, right? But and then what's the problem? You're going to be in a situation where you're going to have a death by 1,000 paper cuts, and no one wants that, right? A lot of people underestimate that, actually. And the reason why they underestimate is because they also underestimate the power of compounding in the reverse, right? No one wants those base hit trades until they realize that, base hit after base hit after base hit, that's a home run trade, right? If I can consistently get base hits, then I'm going to consistently get home run trades, essentially. But the reverse is true too, right? So people who are managing their risk but are continuously stopping out and have no ability to apply probabilities, right, to increase your probability on a low risk trade, that's going to become problematic. So I do look for every time I look at a chart, I'm trying to identify my risk. And as a breakout trader, that risk becomes a little bit different of a scenario, because you're not really basing it off of a level risk, right? So, for example, this is what a dip buyer would see. They're basing their risk off of this, and they're going to add all the way up into that, right? For a breakout trader, though, you're not going to have that type of risk all the time. Sometimes the 1 minute will present you a level in which you can use, but your risk as a breakout trader becomes more of the question of, if this doesn't break out cleanly, I do want to leave wiggle room, because I know not every breakout trade is going to be 100% perfect like this. Like, for example, there was a trade today. We had very clean breakouts today. I can't think of a good example right now, but let's just say like this was the breakout, right? You're trading this as the breakout.
Right.
This isn't a clean breakout, right? And then that's when I need to go and understand, okay, what I'm going to immediately want to look for is it to respect and hold the 9 and 20 EMA. The 9 EMA sometimes exclusively, and the 20 EMA sometimes exclusively. In this case, it looks like the 9 EMA were fairly close, so this is an example of when I'd look for it to hold around that level. So you do have a breach of it, but as everyone should know here, it's very important to wait for candles to close. On a trade that does go against you, though, like here's a good example, actually. So I'm not applying any probabilities to this. I'm just looking at it in terms of managing risk on a breakout trade, right? So say you traded this, right? What is this? It's a range break flag, right? Or it's just a flag. How do you know when to stop out of this trade? So since this is a very tight range, I'd argue that you could use the bottom of this right? Adds your risk. But here's where I wouldn't necessarily wait until this breaks down. The problem is the thesis is I'm gonna get the breakout trade right here, right? I want to leave a little bit wiggle room for it to do some shit up here, but if it goes all the way down here, this entire entry thesis is dismissed, right? This is no longer a valid entry thesis. The entry thesis has changed, and now it's just a gamble if you hold through. Obviously, this went down and went all the way back up, right? This is like 84% rule in play, 80F rule in play, but I would stop out, I believe, on this candle. I have to ask myself when I'm trading a breakout, is it better for me to stay in this position, or is it better for me to exit it? To answer the first one, if it was yes, it's better for me to stay in this position, it typically has to be at the higher end of the breakout, right? I don't want it to go all the way back down because then the thesis is abandoned, right? Or the thesis is invalid. And then also, if it dips too far down and the thesis is invalid, it could go back up. Say it held this, right? It held this cleanly. I can always just reposition, right? But what I need to do first and foremost is exit safely, right? Protect my capital. That's the number one thing. Defense first, always. Right. But I do like to, just like anyone else, try to look for the plays that will work out very cleanly, like MU, right? Another one, what's something else I played today? Snap, right? Snap breakout here. So it was off of it, right? Snap breakout here. Let's go look at it on the 1 minute time frame. Wasn't clean, yeah? I mean, the break was right here. It wasn't clean, but let's go look at what it's respecting, right? Let's go see what trend it is and see if it's respecting the 9 and 20 EMA, right? And let's go see what the big guy was doing. What's the big guy? The big guy is VIX. Let's go look at the context of this trade. So let's go look at this at 216 on VIX.
So is that VIX at the bottom of your chart as well?
Yeah, but I don't really look at that. Okay. For a while, I put like MACD down there, but MACD is a piece of shit indicator, and RSI I don't use. I did try them though, so I did spend time trying them for my strategy. Though it isn't necessary. I don't use volume. Volume's a complete waste of time to look at when trading large caps. In small caps, it was very different though. Volume was super important because it's more volatile. You're gonna have very clear high volume and low volume areas on small caps. For the most part, moral of the story on an intraday basis for large caps is you're gonna have high volume in the morning, pretty stagnant volume if you just have it on the 5 minute time frame for the rest of the day, then high volume at the end of the day.
More or less the same, right?
Yeah, and what I know about large caps too is that, or at least the large caps that I trade on my watch list, is that they're going to be actively traded if it presents a good pattern. The only thing I need to confirm the trade isn't volume, isn't an indicator, isn't an EMA crossover, isn't a pre-market low break, a high day break, isn't any of that shit. It's VIX, right? VIX is going to tell me the context of the trade and if it has a good probability of breaking out. So let's go look at like 216 on the clock on VIX for this Snapchat trade, and we can see what context was going on here. So VIX actually at 216 was heading down. Yeah, so it's trying to range here, and this gets into an entirely different story. Was this at 216 or 116? Hold on. I think it was at 216. So Snap at 216 kind of just did its own thing. It was a good setup. Let's see. Yeah, it kind of did its own thing, but that goes into understanding a very important concept that I have on the origin of the move, understanding where the move started, right? And how far from the move is it, and is it extended, is the next question you need to ask yourself, right?
Right.
And whenever you're trading breakouts in terms of looking to scale out, you need to always ask yourself, has this setup done exactly what I wanted it to? Or has it done its duty, right? What's the duty of a breakout? It's to break out and go north somewhere, or to go south, right?
Right.
So you need to ask yourself, has this done its duty? In my opinion, this has done its duty right here. Anything more on this is just it following the trend. And I need to stay in there via a few methods, like the 9 EMA or the 20 EMA, right? And this was just following the trend. But I think that from this flag breakout right here, this had a very nice move right here, and then it was just cherry on top. Like, MU, for example, I said, I think earlier I said that it did its duty over here. It disrespected the 9 and 20 EMA on the 1 minute, so it was gone. 75% of the position, but 25% I let ride to see what the 5-minute time frame could do for me. But from here to here, that's the bulk of the move. Even if I cut 100% of my trade here, I'm not going to cry about it and be like, oh, I left so much on the table. No, my job is to get in at the breakout, have a very quick move, get the meat of the move, and be gone, right? And move on to the next one. Same thing with Snap, right? Well, Snap was a little bit easier to stay in. If you look at the 9 and 20 EMA combo here, rode it all the way up, right? From the breakout, it was fairly clean. Did it have a little bit of struggle here? Yeah, and then I'll see so many people, they'll get in here, it struggles for 2 minutes, and then they're out. Breakout trading, you need to get a little bit more comfortable with having some conviction in your thesis, understanding the trend you're playing, understanding that it's a pattern you've seen a million times, and just understanding that it's designed to go up if it's forming this pattern. If it doesn't, then, exit upon a break of your initial thesis. Don't exit upon just a few candles that aren't breaking out immediately. Like, right? If this was the breakout right here, let's just delete all these candles and have this here. It'd make you a lot more comfortable, right? Sometimes you just need to let it wiggle, right? Let it do its thing, and then it goes out. But yeah, there's, I can't think of the other trades I took today.
No, that's okay. So I do have another question. Since starting your mentorship, what are some of the kind of most common issues or mistakes that you've been seeing in traders who are jumping in there and trading with you?
The big one, which is the obvious one, or the most common one, is a lack of discipline. So I think a lot of people have a good understanding of technical analysis, maybe not directly through my eyes, right? So that's one of the goals of what I try to do in my mentorship. I try to allow people to see the stock market through my eyes, and that comes with hundreds of examples, right? Repetition. And it's how you learn anything, just repetition over and over and over. But just to show them that, our job as traders is to look for consistencies, right? It could be a consistency in flow, or something Rizm had said in a workshop that I had done with him. Shout out Rizm. I don't know if you know Rizm. He's a good man,
He's awesome. He pops in stream all the time. He's a great guy.
So he's a flow trader. He's like, I'm looking for consistent anomalies, if that makes sense. So just whatever it is, whether you're trading off of level 2, whether you're trading off of patterns, you want to look for consistencies. And then immediately there, you want to understand, what are you seeing most often, right? And this is why backtesting is very important. And I am a firm believer that you don't necessarily have to have an extreme super Excel sheet that you backtest on, right? Just take a screenshot of a chart that you consider a range break flag, right? And then the next time you see it, take a picture of it. And all those pictures gathered up is really going to start to show you, is it consistent enough for me to trade the next time I see it? And again, you can do this in your mind. You don't even necessarily have to take a screenshot. But where I'm going with this is the fact that as soon as you identify a consistency, and it doesn't, again, have to be a pattern-based consistency. It could be a consistency with yourself. You want to understand how to capitalize on that consistency. And I think a lot of people that I've mentored, again, are very good with charts. They can consistently see good setups. And they need to figure out how to capitalize on that. So, for example, this is a very basic example with a very simple solution, which most trading answers or trading questions are answered with. But if you are consistently finding plays that run, but your problem is you're consistently selling too soon, then you need to understand that you're not capitalizing on your consistency, right? You need to understand what's hindering your ability to capitalize on that consistency. In this very basic example, it's the fact that you lack conviction, you lack utilization of the 9 and 20 EMA. You might fear those scenarios where there's only a few candles not rapidly exploding for you, right? And you're just selling right at the breakout where you entered. And you need to figure out how to utilize. So confidence comes with consistency as well. So you need to figure out then how to utilize the things that are going to keep you in your trade. Like I said, the 920 EMA are going to be very great examples on how to do that. And you're going to want to figure out, if I'm consistently being able to find them, then I just need to like close my eyes and just let it do its thing, right? There was a point in time where I had this moments where it's like everything, my gut and everything was telling me that I should sell. And I did sell. And then I kept consistently seeing that I sold. But then I needed to get to a point where I needed to force myself to just, dude, don't sell. Like, you know how many setups you've missed. And in that case too, I know I'm going to go into a segue here, but I know a lot of people will be very discouraged by that. But I think you should just push more. Like, a lot of people are discouraged by, oh, I left a lot on the table, or oh, I coulda, woulda, shoulda scenarios.
Right.
You need to again understand and find, first of all, your consistencies, right? And if your consistencies is you just sell too soon, you need to actually get yourself to a point where you're kind of like rewiring your brain. That's essentially what you're doing. Like there was a period of time where I was literally like forcing my hand away from my mouse to sell because I was selling too soon, but I was consistently finding good setups. I terribly answered that question, so I'm gonna backtrack it though. I kind of went off in my own world there, but
no, you're good.
What I think I see from a lot of people is just, I think the very common answer is discipline and patience issues. And I think I spoke on the Penny Lane podcast about that. Sometimes it could just be the person who you are in nature, right? Like for me, for example, I'm a very emotional person. I am a very impatient person. And I more or less can control my emotions in a stressful situation in the real world. So
Right.
I needed to figure out how I could go and scalp, right? I could be in those 2-second positions. There are people who do that and make it work. But that's not what I wanted to do, right? I wanted to challenge myself, and I wanted to believe that just because that might be my personality type doesn't mean I could work on rewiring my brain a little bit, right? So I think anyone who's in a situation where they think their personality is hindering them, I just want them to know that I don't think that should be an excuse for you to maybe abandon a strategy you've been working on, but more so figure out, how could we work on rewiring it? And that just means, every time you're presented with a situation where you're stressed out, really start to think about what's going on in the moment, because that's exactly what we're doing in a trading situation, right? We can look at things in hindsight and say, oh, I should have, could have, would have done this.
Right.
But when it comes down to it, it's just you. It's not you on Twitter. It's not you and your friend. It's not you in the Discord server you're in. It's you in the chart, right? So you need to get in that zone and really figure out, how could I either just keep my hand away from the mouse, or how could I just control myself, right? And it's a very long process. You have to go through a lot of trial and error. And the problem with that trial and error sentence is I think too many people start to abandon strategies very early on. When I'm studying strategy, I typically study it for about 1 to 2 months. And that means that when I'm learning it, I am taking the trades, right? And that's the only way to learn it. I think I don't think you can backtest off of just taking screenshot photos, because you're not going to get the experience. You're not really going to understand the mentality you need for that specific strategy.
Right.
And you really just need to be patient and understand that really what Incredible Bob is the first person I ever heard say this is that you really just need one setup. When I first heard that, I'm like, okay, yeah, sure. But because I didn't really understand how often these patterns repeat themselves.
Right.
I didn't understand that if I just wait, I don't even have to wait that long. I can just wait, a few hours, a couple minutes sometimes, and sometimes it's a day, but there is going to be that same setup I saw on Thursday present itself again. I just need to wait to trade that. And that's where discipline comes in and bites everyone in their ass. They're making these trades that they know they shouldn't be taking, right? They in the moment they're thinking that, oh, it's a good trade. It kind of looks like this. Then that gets into answering your question again. One of the common things I see is that people know good setups, but I'll say, watch this triangle setup. And then people later in the day or just throughout the week will be showing me, pictures of rectangles, trapezoids, pentagons, and being like, oh, is this that setup? And I don't mean that with any disrespect.
No, of course, of course.
I was down that road myself, but it really does come down to taking a photo of this exact setup here on Snap and waiting for that again. And then that gets into the idea of, okay, this setup here on Snap might not be as consistent as another setup, right? So again, it gets into what our job is, looking for consistencies. And that gets into what I like to look for, which is mainly ranges, whether that be in the form of a flag, whether that be in the form of a dip, just ranges with context applied to it in a directional trend. I see those consistently. I often very much delete my Twitter posts, but you'll see that a lot of what I trade is ranges in all different forms, shapes, and sizes. And it's narrowing down those patterns. So I started finding ranges through a post that Ripster had put on Twitter. Shout out Ripster. But he had said, he has good, I don't know, you can do like an advanced Twitter search maybe, but he had said that all you need to learn, or all you need for trading, or if you master ranges, that is all you need for trading. And I was like, okay, let me study this, not for a day, not for a week, but let me study it for 1 to 2 months, right? Figure out how often do ranges come, how do I identify them in real time, and then that goes into the process of finding consistencies, right? For the most part, I'm going to be looking at them in hindsight. And then the next day, I'm going to be trying to look at them live and figure out, okay, does this align with VIX? Does this have good probabilities? But for the majority of the backtesting stage, a lot of it, I think, is in hindsight. Then you go and implement it. And again, when you implement something you're backtesting, you don't want to use normal size. You want to use small size because you want to figure out how to trade that strategy. But ranges, man. That's all you need. I really took that to heart because Ripster was someone I really admired, and when you look at his Twitter page, I think he has a lot of things in his toolbox. But when I read that thing, I was like, okay, Ripster's saying this is all I need. Let me spend time on that, and now that's really the basis of my strategy. Like here on Snap, he had this double top break, but mixed into this, he had this nice range. And ranges are super important because they are periods of time. If you think about when a range occurs, right? You can even see one here that we traded on the inverse of Snap. Shout out Sammy. Sammy gave us this trade. But it's a period of time. This is the A+ setup. So if you guys want to know what an A+ setup and just wait for this pattern, you're going to see it on the 4 hour. You're going to see it on the 1 hour. You're going to see it on the 30 minute, the 15 minute, the 5 minute. The 1 minute, right? You're going to see this pattern everywhere. And this is why I like pattern-based trading, because you can trade it on all time frames, the same pattern, and you can also trade it on inverse charts and regular charts. It has nothing to do with the day being an uptrend or a downtrend. It doesn't have anything to do with the market being in an uptrend or a downtrend. But this is great because when you think about what's happening is, okay, here's the trend. The trend is saying it wants to go lower, but no one, unless you were, momentum trading or whatever trading gets you in here, maybe it was a level base you entered on a higher time frame, maybe it was this, maybe it was that. But this is saying to day traders or to anyone who's seeing a range is that price is at this equilibrium, right? And for the left side of this, right, what's happening before this is saying this is the trend. We're going to consolidate for a little bit. Then we're going to go ahead, right? We're just going to breathe. It's a breathing period. And we're going to go ahead and continue our trend to the upside. That's why I like ranges. And in this case, it's a flag. I don't think I have a good example of a range and a dip right today. Okay. But yeah, there's... and most importantly with ranges is that again, when you go and backtest something, you need to figure out, does this happen on a consistent basis, or does it happen ever so often? Is it Is it something that I actually want to focus on for a period of time? Is it something I want to build into my strategy? But ranges are something I can see on an everyday basis.
No, that's awesome, man. Very well explained. So I want to talk a little bit about if or what you do outside of the market. So let's say, it's past 8 or whatever, market's closed. What kind of prep are you doing at night to prepare for the next day?
Nothing. I don't like doing anything at
Nice.
night.
Nice. I'm the same
Yeah.
way.
Yeah, and there's some nights that I'll well, it's mainly for the Discord, but there's some nights where I'll do like charting at night.
Right.
But the reason why I don't do that is because I have a limited list of tickers that I go through.
Yeah.
That I trade every single day. So it's not like in the morning I have to wake up at like 3 a.m. to do pre-market
Right.
prep or anything like that. No, and the reason why I just wait to the morning is because it doesn't take long, and because I have more data. The more data you have, the more accurate your analysis is going to be. And also, my biggest pet peeve of charting at night is when you have this picture perfect setup get completely wrecked by a gap up or a gap down. And now all that last night was just a complete waste of time.
For nothing. 100%.
But at night, though, I actually nowadays I don't chart at night or anything. I do my trade review, and I'm helping people. That's pretty much where my focus is at night. Direct messages, questions in the chat. But if I wasn't doing the mentorship or anything, it would consist of just a trade review, which takes about an hour to do.
Right.
I'm looking for setups that I might have missed. I'm looking for setups, and again, what I might have missed needs to be to my strategy. Because there's like this trade right here, great, it went up, that's cool, but was I able to be in that trade? And to answer that question in short, and no, I had no entry thesis in a trade that went up like this. Right. Maybe I traded the intraday time frame, but I go through each time frame and I'm like, oh shit, I missed this setup. Like I think a setup I missed yesterday was this inverse chart of forward. Look, you have this nice little range. It breaks out of this range. What happens, right? So this was here. We can go back and look at it, right? It's fairly simple. And again, when you're basing an entry off of a higher time frame, you need to understand that the higher time frame, the stronger the trend, the bigger the move. You're probably not gonna be, and if it's not off of an intraday thing where you can base your risk, this gets into that question of, okay, if it's a bigger move, I can probably take monthly contracts so I could, have less volatility in the play, right? Because trading this, you're going to get chopped up on a weekly contract. But if I'm just trusting that the higher time frame is going to work as it should, I can just ride it, and I can put more size on further out contract expiration and just let it do its thing. But yeah, that was a good setup on Ford that I had missed. I actually looked at it the wrong way. So I had Ford on the back burner play. I was looking at it for more of a bullish scenario. But as you can see here, the level never broke, but it did break to the downside. I should have put more emphasis on that. But yeah, I'll go through the daily charts, see if I missed anything. I'll go through the 4-hour charts, see if I missed anything. The 1-hour charts, see if I missed anything. And then I'll go through the 5-minute time frames to see if I missed anything on there. And as a new trader, I would highly recommend keeping a catalog of this, right? Like, it doesn't really matter what you name a setup. It just matters that you know that this setup is different than this setup. And the differences are, this is more consistent, or I like trading this better, right? You can call a setup a fladoozle manoozle, and it doesn't really matter so as long as you know what it is. But it's important to know what it is, and how consistent it is compared to something else. You don't want just a category of just flags. You want like flat top flag breaks, range break flags, trendline flags, right? Also, when it comes to backtesting and I guess doing anything at night, I don't ever and never look at shit that didn't work. So I'll go look at my trades that didn't work, but when it comes to screenshotting something and putting it in a Discord server or a PowerPoint or Google Slides, I will only look at the shit that worked. I don't really give a shit about the things that didn't work. Even if it was a good setup, I just want to get my eyes used to seeing what works, right? Because if you start to put like good setups in that failed because of maybe VIX, then in my opinion, if you look back at them, you're going to be more cautious the next time you see it, because you're going to be like, oh, this sometimes works, sometimes doesn't work. No, I just want to get my eyes used to what works, even if it's the exact same setup. I just want to see that this went up green, right? It went up very nicely. But while actually on a day-to-day basis going through the stocks, I will go over why something failed. So I will get that experience. I'm not just excluding shit that just didn't work, right? But I do, the stuff that I do save, I want to be very thorough on just the ones that really did work.
Yeah, it's like focusing on what's working, so you can focus in on that more and kind of avoid the bad setups that you're not good at trading, sort of thing, right?
Yeah, exactly. Let's see. And then the whatchamacallit, just the EMAs that I have on everything below the 4 hours is going to be the 90 and 20. And then daily chart, no EMAs. It's going to be SMAs. You're going to have the 200, the 50, and the 20. Just a brief rundown of EMAs on the daily chart and or on the 4 hour, or SMAs on the daily chart and or the 4 hour. It's the same concepts apply. If trading a dip off of them, or trading, again, I'm mainly a pattern-based trader. I'm not really going to add on an EMA dip. I want to be in when it breaks out and is riding the EMA up. But just for a daily chart example, you really want to see, like, I think Microsoft Weekly is actually a good example. So you can see here, you want to see what it's respecting the most. And in this case, it has some respect to this 20 EMA on the upside here. Then it starts to get a bit choppy, a little bit different. And on the downside, it seems like it's seemingly rejecting this. But on the weekly time frame, whatever you do when you are looking at EMAs, you want to see what's being respected. So that 20 EMA was more or less respected on the daily time frame, but here, as you can see on this weekly time frame, there's a lot of respect to it, right? And that we kind of went over on the intraday trades with MU, Snap, and whatever I showed you, with if it's respecting it or not, or when it disrespects it. Whenever you do look at an EMA, you do want to see, is it respecting it? Because if it's not respecting it and it hasn't been respecting it, it's likely that it's not going to respect it coming up,
No, yeah, 100%. Did we talk about like stopping out and if plays go the other way?
A little bit on the breakout trades. I had done that. I know a lot of people, including myself in the beginning, did never stop out, and it's more of a pride issue, a stubbornness issue. So that goes into stubbornness. I'm a very stubborn person too, but I quickly learned I just can't do that in the market. And that, obviously, going into what I was saying earlier, it doesn't mean that I need to go find a pattern where I can't be stubborn, right? I don't think there is a pattern. You just need to rewire your brain or figure out how to control yourself a little bit more. And that's just discipline, right? But stopping out, I don't know. I'll just speak on it a little bit. I spoke to Maple about this in one of his tweets. I commented under it, but the game changes when you just stop out, right? Instead of just, oh, let's hope, and that goes in depth into knowing exactly what you're looking for. So on the examples that I showed earlier, I knew exactly what I was looking for. I knew exactly how to approach a breakout trade, right? And what to do in scenarios where it goes wrong, when to stop out, and that's when it abandons or invalidates the thesis. I see too many people will hold even though it invalidates their thesis, and then that makes me question, did you ever have a thesis, right? So it doesn't make sense why, or a good thesis, it doesn't make any sense why you'd still be holding if it completely went against that. But I've come to meet a lot of traders who got into a situation where they don't know how to stop out, and I think that as I went along and worked with them, it's typically because they didn't know what their thesis was. They were like, oh, I'm going to enter here, but I'm going to hold because even though it's dipping, because I don't really know what I'm doing. I don't really know why I got. So that again goes into like what I just said, which was know exactly what you're looking for. And when you know exactly what you're looking for, you'll know exactly how to plan an exit based off of that. Whether it be an exit that works in your favor, right?
Right.
Or an exit that is going against you.
100%.
You need to, and it's just the fundamentals of any entry thesis. You need a stop loss, a price target, and your entry.
And so do you think that's a similar reason to why people go from green to red on a trade? Because I've been seeing that a lot recently. Like people, they'll say like, "Oh, I was up like 40% on that, and I ended up taking a 20% loss." And I'm like, man, like, why? You know what I mean? Like, what's the mentality there?
Yeah, just greed, stubbornness, wanting to be right.
Right.
Not really knowing what you're doing though. Which is again going into know exactly what your entry thesis is, and try to follow through with it as much as you can. I'd rather stop out when it breaks my entry thesis and have it go up 1,000%, and I'd be very proud with that stop out because it means that it didn't go with the entry thesis that I had created. It went off of something entirely different. Then I need to go and ask the question, how do I get myself behind being in this trade? Sometimes you just get faked out. Sometimes you had a terrible first entry thesis, right? And then that goes into what we were saying earlier. Don't worry about the shoulda, woulda, coulda. Figure out how you can do that next time, because the market is just endless opportunities of the same shit over and over. It really is. That's why technical analysis works, is because it repeats itself, right? In one way, shape, or form. So you really need to understand what you want to trade and how to trade it. And when you understand what you want to trade, the world also changes too, because you're no longer really getting FOMO. You're no longer getting in that situation where I'd argue FOMO actually is something that it comes about every single day in my trading career.
Right.
And that's not necessarily FOMO created from seeing the charts go up and down. It's more so from external factors outside of my mind and the brokerage, which is Twitter and Discord. I'll see so many people banking early on, and I'm like, damn, I'm supposed to be banking early on, right? I'm supposed to be the one who's good at open trades. Right. And then I go look at everything for what? For what I know how to trade, right? For the patterns that I'll trade on an everyday basis. It should be very similar to your large cap watch list. If you have a large cap watch list you trade on an everyday basis, you should have patterns you trade on an everyday basis. And when you're trading patterns, you're able to do that, right? We talked about how it doesn't matter if it's in an uptrend or a downtrend, utilize those inverse charts. The same patterns happen. And that goes in briefly to my shorting strategy. It's the same shit as my longing strategy. There's no difference. I'm just looking for patterns when it's below VWAP. But I forgot what the main topic of what we just said was. I go on segues.
No, it's just letting a green trade go red.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're good.
But yeah, no one should ever. If you're up 40%, you should imagine how many times or how much money you'd have if you locked in every time you were up 20%.
Right.
Right. Just it goes into the singles becoming home runs at the end of the day.
Yeah. No. 100%. And so that was so if someone has a smaller account, I think maybe they're not, because it seems like the money isn't there at those lower like quote unquote lower percentages, like 20% or whatever. What are some mentality tips around small accounts that you think would be healthier?
Bro, I'm like 99% sure we hit the bottom on the market. I can't be 99% sure, but I'm pretty sure we hit the bottom. I'm just gonna say this, so we got a timestamp.
Okay.
I'm looking at some of these charts, and I'm like, yo, yeah, we're at the bottom, I think.
It looks
I
crazy,
also
right?
thought that we were at the bottom on SPY a couple weeks ago, but that wasn't true. I thought we were at the bottom and we are gonna hold a higher low here.
Okay.
But I don't know. We see it often in history though. It goes and makes a lower low. So like I thought we were gonna get something like this. But sometimes in many cases we can make a lower low then reverse. But these are look at this gnarly bullish candle
That's
here.
a lot of buying pressure.
Yeah, it's a gnarly candle. I love the weekly candle and it's a close too.
Right.
Yeah.
What do you think about kind of general world news and market conditions? Where do you think we're kind of headed?
Up based off of this chart right here, but I don't really ever look at news, whether that be for swing trades, whether that be for day trades, right? Something that has pre-market news. I do admit to wanting to get better at that. RISM has enlightened me on how you can do so much better doing that. RISM, if you guys find him, he has it's like Richie Rich is his Twitter. In his profile, he has a Discord link where he will go over the news every single day, fairly early though, at 6 a.m., 8 a.m. Eastern time. I think it's like 8:20 sometimes, but he'll go over the news. He has Benzinga. He has everything. He'll give you everything. He'll break it down. So I know from experience that I'm someone who isn't the best at reading headlines and just really understanding the news, understanding if it's bullish or bearish. Because some of this, like, I'll be completely honest, I'm not even afraid to admit it. I don't really know what the FOMC is or the minutes. Like, I get like the general concepts of them, but I don't really know what it means for short-term or long-term price action. And arguably, no one knows what it means for that. But I couldn't tell you like half the shit that comes out in the economic reports on these economic calendars. I'm very simple. It's trading the chart with VIX. That's all I need to know. And I also, whenever I long during crashes or very big dips like this. So this is a great opportunity to long, in my opinion. And when I do swing trade, it's short-term swing trades. It's mainly no more than a week, but it's getting really good moves out of it, right? Because it's breakout trading. I'm looking to get the meat of the move very quick and easy. But typically no more than 2 weeks on an average swing trade. But yeah, to answer your question plainly, I don't look at news. I don't really care for it. Again, VIX is going to tell me when potential news is coming. Like if we go speak on VIX just in a very quick crash course, it's very similar to a small cap, I noticed. And I think that's why I'm very good at reading it. I also want to challenge anyone who thinks they can read VIX better than me. Not even trying to toot my horn. I'd really love to be challenged though. Anyways, VIX is very similar to a small cap in that it really looks like a small cap chart.
It does
so
actually.
Let me show you like Pixie or shit. This isn't. Let me go like to.
That's actually funny. I never noticed that.
Yeah, it goes ups and down, right? So
right.
VIX, when let's just go to the daily chart right now. When it pops a few days, in some circumstances, in most circumstances, it gets a secondary bounce, right? So the secondary bounce could either happen when it gets too steep into demand, right, which is all this down here. So that's when you need to have some caution, right? Or when you're day trading, know that this might be if we get a morning pop, we might actually end up closing very low. One of those days, right? But if you look at just the consistencies we see on VIX, it pops up. I'm just looking at the secondary bounces right now. It either consolidates for a few days at EMA sometimes, or just dips too steeply into demand again and then consolidates, right? So again, pop up here, dips steeply into demand, consolidates, pop up here, dips steeply into demand, consolidates, pop up here. Then we get this secondary bounce off of no consolidation, right? Then we have this, just kind of just chop. And then we get too low again, no real consolidation, but it dipped steeply into demand. And again, here, big move down around these EMAs, around this demand zone, it's going to go up. And then this is another example of consolidation. But that's typically the gist of it. We had actually timed in one of the earlier mentorships, I was looking at VIX in terms of something Brady taught me, which is kind of timing things by historical data. I don't like to go too far, just like I don't like to go too far on my resistance levels, right? I like to base it off the most recent data. It's going to be more accurate.
Right.
We were looking at the time periods between the pops, and we had just come off of this one, and I was like, when's the last time we saw something? Or I think it was like over here. Yeah, it was over here, and then we were looking at the higher low because that's typically what was going to happen because we didn't have a huge spike yet, right? So it's going to create a higher low right here, and we see higher lows being created some other spots. But I had done this, and I had dragged this over, and I'm like, I think we're going to have a spike on VIX here shortly. And then the same thing could be over here, right? It's not 100%, right? I'm not really measuring it by counting the days. I'm just looking at when is this most likely to occur again? When is this pop most likely to occur? And that oftentimes comes without even doing that. I don't consider that complex, but it might not be as accurate. But you just realize that we came into demand. We've been chilling down here. We might want to open up some shorts, right? Because the market was in a very big bull trend, right? The same thing over here. Consolidation at these EMAs pop up. You go too steep, it starts to flatten out, right? The trend starts to flatten out. Consolidation goes up here, higher low. You know, it's fairly simple to read actually, VIX, in terms of the higher time or in terms of the daily chart. And to time the tops is actually not too hard to read either. So generally speaking, they're all going to go into a general vicinity of sub 40 and above 30, right? Unless it's a more extreme case like COVID. But you can look at, like, here's a pop right here. So we can look at the 4-hour trend. We have a high, a higher low, not a higher high, right? So it's signaling, okay, we could be breaching the trend, but what happens down here? We hold a higher low. So it's kind of ranging right now. So when it breaks out of that range, what happens? We have another higher high, we have a higher low, right? And then when's the first break of this trend? Right here to start to descend. Here on this previous pop, which is I think the most recent one, yeah. Not as, it's different scenario, right? But we can still look at it the same way. I think in this scenario we had to use the hourly chart a little bit more. All right, so we were looking at it. This was the first higher low, really, in terms of the hourly chart. I mean, we had one here, I think you can argue, or right here, but this was a lower low, so we need to understand that. And we don't understand that this is a lower low until around right here, right? Until it actually creates that as a pivot point. And then we broke down as a lower low here, right? We broke down after this double bottom, if you want to call it, but this is a new pivot point. Then big picture, this is a lower low, and then you actually got a higher low here, so it's like, okay, trend could shift again. But what happens here? You can't break this for 3 days to try to break it. So what happens now? This is the new pivot point. You're gonna break down here. You're gonna break down the next one, just a nice lower high here, and then you're just gonna go down, right? So it's very much respectful of trend structure, and just like a small cap goes up and down, and you want to look for when it dips too steeply or when it consolidates at the bottom.
Wow, that's really cool. I've never seen anyone break it down like that. That's super interesting.
Simplicity, my friend.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, everything should be very simple.
I want to give the floor to chat for a second. If you guys have anything that you want to ask Rhodesa while we have them on live, feel free to put in your questions now. We can do a little bit of a Q&A. Otherwise, we'll look to start wrapping things up most likely. I think it'd be really cool for me, you, Maple Stacks, and Bull Shark to do one of these coming up. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm definitely down.
I think it'd be pretty sweet. We'll do it on, we can even do it on Twitter, on Spaces if you want, but I think it'd be fun on Twitch with you guys. Let's see, we got some questions coming in now.
Yeah, and maybe even on Friday, I don't know what Maple's plan is, but me and Bull Shark always get on Voice on Friday. I'm on Voice pretty much every day, but he gets on Voice on Friday, and I just connect my Discord to his Voice, and so we can all just be connected.
Oh,
on your live stream.
Yeah, where do you do that?
It's just through, I just connect to his Discord, and then I will just connect like my iPad to my mic and connect that to my Discord.
Oh, that's sweet.
Connect to mine, you know, and then we can just relay that over to Twitch.
And you do live trading?
Yeah, we're just on Voice. Sometimes I'll be sharing my screen, so I guess
cool.
I could share my screen on your Twitch too.
Yeah, no, that'd be awesome. I'll definitely. I'm off on Friday from work, so I'm totally down to that. We can do a little live trading session. That'd be sweet.
Yeah, definitely. Let's let me just text Bullshark. I'll forget. I have a short-term memory.
Yeah, no, you're good. You're good. I can throw us in a group chat on Twitter too if that works as well.
Yeah, that'll work better.
Okay, cool. I'll do that after the stream. Got a couple questions coming in. Like I said, if you guys have questions, this is your chance to ask them. What are your? I mean, this is kind of a loaded question. What are your A+ setups, Rhodes?
Yeah, so I think the most A+ setup today was definitely going to be that on Snap. But so my A+ setups you often hear are subjective, and that's true. My A+ setup could be very different than 100's A+ setup, and could be different than whoever's listening to this A+ setup. But to understand my A+ setups, they're based on really, and it's very simple. There's no advanced strategy. It's based on, if I were to Google a flag break or go look in a trading textbook of a trend line break, a flag break, an ascending triangle, that's what I consider an A+ setup. And people are always like, oh, textbook setups are, they never occur, right? No, they actually do quite frequently. I just don't think people know how to position themselves to be in front of them in a consistent manner, and I also don't think they're patient enough to wait for them. But that's typically mine. So basis of my A+ setup is a textbook setup, an
Gotcha.
actual textbook setup. So again, textbook setups could be subjective, but it's like if you were to Google like an ascending triangle, and it doesn't even show like a chart, it just shows like those lines of an ascending triangle. Here, let me show you a good example. We can go on to the next question while I Google it.
Yeah, for sure. How far out do you buy your contracts?
So I'll trade weeklies up to Thursday, and I'll then trade on Fridays. I'll just go to next week and I'll trade Fridays. And then for swing trades, for day trades off of open, which is off of a higher time frame thesis, will likely take weeklies and monthly contracts. Weekly, so I can capitalize on the movement if it decides to be a very good trade. But the most sides will be on monthly contracts, so that I could stay in the higher time frame thesis while avoiding maybe some of the open volatility, right? And again, when I'm trading off of a open thesis, like what's one from the other day? I think it was SQ. No, it wasn't SQ. Let me. Short-term memory in full effect. But I'm trading off of like here, I guess, is a good example. This would be a good example of a higher time frame thesis. Let's go look at what this did that day at open, if this even happened at open. So sometimes at open, and just like sometimes there's a break that's super clean, it'll be very clean. But as you can see here, this was more or less clean, right? So I try to get in on the first 5 minutes if I have a higher time frame thesis, and VIX is in the right trend after a few minutes. But monthly contracts will allow me to sit through this without being affected. And again, my risk is going to be less of a level base and more of a percentage from my entry. And monthly contracts allow me to be able to successfully trade this, right? Because the monthly contract, you would have only been down at the even if you got like the peak right here, right, and you held it here, you would have been in a nice 10%, 15% threshold. But yeah, I and then for like I noticed that for swing trades, sometimes I like to go 2 months out because I'll be right on the idea, but my entry won't be respected off of the percentage risk. So going out a little bit more will help me have to focus less on getting a perfect entry and more on just being able to ride that trade. But really no more than 1 month out.
Gotcha.
And that's and like I said, for open trades, I will trade monthlies because it goes higher, right? The higher the time frame, the stronger the trend. Theoretically, the bigger the move. So the lack of volatility is made up for by how big of the move that occurs.
Gotcha. Wait, another question coming in here. Let me just shout out who asked the questions. Thank you, Blake Singleton for the first question, and DTG for the second question. We got a question from Jiminy. He's asking, we've been listening to Rhodes for years in Atlas and on his own Twitch and in Discord. Will we ever get the face reveal of the man behind the curtain?
Yeah, I've posted my photo on multiple occasions in a few different Discords, but
Shit.
I like deleted it shortly after. I think Atlas I posted it a few times. Bullshark knows what I look like. I think Generation knows what I look like, but I really have no intention on just posting it on Twitter.
Yeah, it's not really a point.
It's just because I don't want to steal everyone's girlfriend, you know?
No, okay, I hear you. Okay.
It's more of a courtesy.
Yeah, no, for sure. That's understandable, honestly. Next question is from Sequence978. Between Spy and QQQ and Vix, which one precedes the other? Spy QQQ going up will tank Vix, or Vix going up brings down Spy QQQ? Asking, as I always see, they work inverse to each other.
Yeah, so sometimes I won't trade patterns because there just might not be patterns, or other times is when Vix has a very high correlation with one of the indexes. On a consistent basis, it has a very high correlation with Spy. So if I ever create if Vix is ever coming down to a strong support level, and which means that it's getting ready to spike, I'm gonna go short Spy. That's my go-to because it typically has a high correlation. I know a lot of people, including a lot of the Generation members, like Bullshark specifically, loves QQQ, whether that's to short it or to long it. The problem with QQQ and the short side is that it very much so, it's very strong. It could be relatively strong. So relatively strong meaning it's stronger than the other indexes. So when there is VIX going down, sometimes some of the stocks under the umbrella of QQQ could be very strong. Like Tesla is a good example. Some days Tesla just rips and VIX might be up too, but Tesla's kind of in itself keeping up QQQ. Or Microsoft and Apple actually hold, I believe, a 10% stake each in QQQ. So whenever they are really strong, sometimes relative strength, right? So another scenario where VIX is going up and they're going up, they can keep QQQ from being something to short. So that's why I always go to SPY. But there's no real stock that has that amount of weight in SPY, I don't think, or at least I've never seen. So it's always a good one to go to, whether you want a long with just the aspect of high correlation or whether you want a short. But something you always need to be mindful of is whether or not SPY does have high correlation with VIX. Because some days actually VIX could have high correlation with just a random stock for whatever reason. Actually, more or less a random stock. Sometimes it'll be Apple. For whatever reason, VIX has a high correlation with Apple more so than SPY. And I'm just like, okay. And it doesn't really, I'll just trade Apple like I would do on SPY on another day, right? Just trade what has high correlation with it. But for the most part, most things will have good correlation with, most of the techs at least will have good correlation with that of VIX.
Gotcha. Thank you. Second one from Jiminy's got another question here. Someone in his early mentorship, from someone in his early mentorship, he never wanted to mess around with the EMAs. Curious to know what changed his mind.
Yes, I'd like to speak on that publicly too. So there's situations where I'll go to Twitter and I'm like, fuck the inside bar play, or fuck VWAP at one point. Fuck trade ideas forever. That'll never change. But when I say that, it's mainly to attract the crowd that aligns with that. When I say that, I'm not ignorant in saying that it doesn't work for other people. I always understand that. As much as I hate MACD right now, I understand that it works for some people, and maybe down the line, I turn into a different trader and I fall in love with MACD. I always keep that open. For example, VWAP. I didn't like it on small caps, still don't like it on small caps, but for large caps, it's phenomenal. For like EMAs. So I had actually once learned the 9 EMA from a gentleman called Emperor Trades. And Emperor Trades was an Atlas OG member. He's still around. He's on Twitter, but I had abandoned it in small caps because I didn't necessarily need it. I realized I wasn't really ever using this. But I did understand the general concept of it. So my exploration into the 9 EMA, although it proved to be something I abandoned for a period of time, did end up benefiting me later on down the road. I realized that, okay, large caps, and that's why I included MACD when I first went to large caps. I'm like, okay, these respect TA. Let's go see if it respects MACD a little bit more too.
Right.
Same thing with VWAP. That's how I ended up with VWAP. Same thing with the EMAs. It's something I might have said, fuck EMAs. You don't need those. But again, it's that was more of me just being adamant about my current state, but definitely never being ignorant in the fact that I don't think it doesn't work. Right? It obviously works for some people. There's a way to use everything. Like Flow, I don't really like, but Rizm loves Flow. He trades based off of Flow.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe I will fall in love with Flow later on, but for right now, it's fuck Flow.
I tried Flow out for a while. I signed with Black Box Stocks, and I don't know. I slowly kind of distanced myself from it a bit. I didn't find it as useful as I think I thought I was going to, and I think since I stepped away from it, my trading's maybe even got a bit better. But I don't know. Like you said, a lot of people, they trade strictly off Flow, and I've had guests on my show where they swear by it. We had Options Mafia on, and he's pretty much a strict just Flow trader. So I don't know. It's really interesting how these different indicators can be the only thing somebody trades, and then another person, they're like, no, I've never touched that. It's just not work for me.
Yeah, the basis of everything that I trade is going to come from the chart and the patterns I know how to trade consistently. I think a lot of people use Flow or other indicators in conjunction with the chart, but there are definitely some people who strictly trade off of Flow, and I find that very interesting because you can come to the same conclusion that I have based off an entirely different thesis, really. But yeah, and that goes into what we were talking about earlier with my predicament with a gentleman named Sir Yoda and him not using extended trading hours.
Right.
At the end of the day, you're going to be able to find a trade off of any strategy, off of any form of trading. It just comes down to what works for you. And I would never write off that I can't ever become a flow trader. It's just that wasn't my path of learning, right? Maybe if I first started, right, I just enter the market tomorrow and I just meet 10 flow traders, I'm probably gonna go and develop into a flow trader. So that's where I really understand or take the time to understand flow. I take the time to understand MACD so that I can see what other traders are thinking. And the more I know about other traders, the better I'm gonna be able to trade because it's all based off of human psychology.
Right. No, 100%. Another question chat coming up, and I kind of have an add-on to it because I remember something from one of the spaces I think you were in. D Jeans is asking thoughts on trading only 2 tickers, for example, like AMD and QQQ. And I want to add to that, weren't you in a space where somebody, maybe it wasn't you, but somebody was like, I only traded 1 ticker, made a shitload of money, and then I lost it all, but then I got fucked when tax season came. Was that you?
Oh, no, that was on, I think, Option Summit. Someone had talked to us about that.
Yeah, no, I didn't think it was you, but you were on that panel, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So on the Penny Lane podcast, I talked about this a little bit. Shout out Penny Lane, shout out Blaine. But I think it's very beneficial to trade with a smaller watch list, whether it be 2 tickers or 10 tickers. I think that's a smaller watch list because I believe my current watch list, it's broken down into sectors, but I think it totals around 30 to 40. It's a lot to manage, but I'm able to do it because of the setup that I create for myself. So that goes into another conversation of make sure that if you do have a larger watch list, you're able to actually put yourself behind the trades, and you're not just, oh, I could have been here, right? No, I mean there's a could have been here, and there's a no, you can't flip through that many charts situation, you know. But when you're trading with a limited watch list, you have to understand that requires it's very good because you're understanding the personality of the stock you're trading. You're getting a great understanding of it the more you trade it. But it becomes, I believe, problematic when you realize that it takes a lot of patience to trade off of a small watch list. So one of the reasons why I have a larger watch list is because there's, some days there might not be a setup on a stock, right? Like on this SQ inverse chart currently, I don't know if there's a setup that I would trade on this.
Right.
But like I think this at one point maybe it was trying to form something that might be explained. This fake out right here might be explained by VIX. But it becomes very problematic in that you need a lot of discipline and a lot of patience to trade those, because again, there's going to be days where you're not going to have a setup on it, but there might be a stock over here that's like, this is your A plus setup, let's go to this one, right? And then that's expanding your watch list. The reason why I have a lot of stocks to watch is because it increases my probability of finding a setup.
Right.
But I do make sure that I'm able to manage it.
No, definitely. That makes perfect sense.
But it's. Have you ever traded with one stock just exclusively? I think you need to build a different system when you're trading off of one stock. You need to know when to buy the dip more so, because I'm a pattern-based trader. It takes time for 5-minute patterns to form. It takes time for 1-minute patterns to form, and sometimes they don't form. So that's why I'm more or less against it from that perspective. But I do understand if you approach it a different way, right? If you start to understand, oh, it respects the 9 EMA on the 20 or on the 10-minute very often, right? It just goes into looking at consistencies for that specific stock. There is a way to trade it, I think, more so than what I was speaking on earlier, but it would require a different system of trading.
Oh, 100%. And I did try trading one ticker for a little bit because like it was very popular. It still is popular just to trade like an ETF, like just SPY or just QQQ. And I did try that for a little bit, but what I found was on the days where you weren't getting defined moves or really defined setups or patterns, your brain was kind of forcing that onto the chart, and you would see something that's not really there. And I think that can be bad, and you might force a trade that normally you wouldn't take if you're looking at 5 tickers and you saw the same setup but a little bit better on a different chart, and that ends up working out, but you missed it because you're just on one ticker. You know what I mean? So like on days where it doesn't play out the same, I think it can be, I don't know, a bit misleading or I don't know, toxic, like an ex-girlfriend.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know if that made any sense to anybody, but that was my experience.
No, I got you.
Yeah. Listen, man, I'd love to kind of move towards the end here and talk about anything you'd like, anything you think that we've missed, or if you want to talk about your mentorship program, kind of plug that a bit. Totally fine with that. What do you got? What's going on?
I guess anything we might have missed would be, I guess we can go back to what I have here on the right side of the screen. Let me just pull this up. So you often see Maple post examples like
but
this.
it's not working because we're stuck on that one screen. You might have to share the other tab.
Oh, yeah. Let me just see that real quick.
Yeah, no worries.
Screen. Change window.
And then I also wanted to ask you just what you do outside of trading, and what your real life is like.
Yeah. So this is a good example of what I was talking about, with the examples that aren't actually charts. Like, this is an A+ setup to me. What did, in the stream, pop quiz for everyone, what stock did I show you looked exactly like this? Let's see.
It'll be a 15-second delay, so we'll see here. Do you want to repeat the question one more time?
Yeah, what stock looked exactly like this right here? I don't know if you guys can see it. I think I can zoom. No, if I zoom in, it won't work. Let's see if I go here. Yeah, we already have the answer, but it was Snap. Snap looked exactly like this. If we want to go back to it, we could. But Snap looked exactly like this on the 1 minute inverse time frame. This is a very good A+ setup, and you'll see them very often. Understanding, though, too, where the trend's coming from, right? This came from here, so it's considered a bullish pennant. The trend is bullish. It's more than likely going to go up. This, understanding where it's coming from, is a bearish pennant. It's more than likely going to go down. Here's one of the flat top flags we were talking about, or an ascending triangle. It doesn't really matter what you call it. One thing I will say I hate is the symmetrical triangles. They have a more or less of a good success rate. I don't like trading them. I think that's because the success rate is so low. At least the ones that I've traded, it's kind of 50-50. They do work, and then they don't work.
No, I agree with that too. They're kind of hard to read because they like literally could go either way. Like this.
And then what to do for fun?
Yeah, what's Rhodesa's life like outside of trading when you know, a weekend or you're off the clock?
Off the clock, I'm always with my girlfriend.
Nice.
We love to eat. We're foodies. Not fat though. But we love
I'll still steal your girl, but we're foodies.
Yeah, no, but food, man. Food is amazing. I do sometimes wish I lived in a bigger city because there's not much to do out here, but
So you're kind of small town, or?
Yeah, I live in Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Okay.
So it's not like California where you can just go to the beach or anything like that.
Right.
I definitely want to move to like a lake house or a beach house. When I'm older, when it's time to get a house, but really it's trading. It's a lot of trading. I enjoy it. I have been eating healthy lately, and I completely vouch for that. It definitely takes a lot of discipline to eat healthy. At first, it's kind of like going to the gym. You're like all amped up, let's do this, and then you're like, let's have a fucking sandwich again. Let's have a salad again, you know. And there's fun ways you can do it with meal prepping, but being healthy does require a bit of discipline. But what I really like about it and what keeps me going with eating healthy is that I do find that I have substantially more energy in the day. And I kept getting very sick often too. And I was like, it's probably because I lack exercise and eat very bad. And this is coming from someone who was once an athlete too. So I definitely needed to get on a better path. I do highly recommend, speaking of exercise, always get out and hike without your phone. That's something that I've been doing a lot lately too, and it really helps clear my mind. But furthermore, get a standing desk, bro. Do you have a standing desk?
I do actually. Yeah, there's you can redeem that as a channel points thing. You can redeem for me to stand up, and I lift my desk. But yeah, it's awesome, man.
Yeah, they're goated, and I just got a very simple one. It's like $350 off of Amazon, and it's there's like $1,000 options one, and mine's big. It's like a 60-inch desk. So there's definitely affordable ones, but for a while I was like, I don't know if I need this. I'll tell you right now, if you're in that situation, definitely get it. It's like the best thing I could have ever done. I feel like I stand and trade more than I actually sit.
Oh, 100%. And mine is from fully.com if anyone's interested. It's definitely a lot more expensive than $350, but hella worth it, dude. I love this thing. And the fully desks are interesting. You can like really customize it and pick like a bunch of different they have like everything you can think of on there. So that's a cool desk as well. A bit more expensive, but definitely at least get, you know, something that can stand. It is like actually coded.
Better for your health too.
Yeah, 100%. The other thing too is just drinking water, man. Like I always catch myself not drinking enough water, and you actually feel like better and more awake, like when you're hydrated, you know.
Yeah, you should always try to get a gallon in a day. Soda's very bad for you. But I love soda. I don't drink it as often as I used to, but water's very good for you. It makes you feel better.
Do you drink alcohol or no?
So yeah, my journey into the world of alcohol started with wine.
Okay.
I really liked the buzz off of wine, and then I realized I don't like the taste of wine. I think it tastes like ass. I think that beer, like craft beer, tastes like ass. I think that if you go to a local brewery, it tastes like ass, like IPA. I think it really does taste like piss, and and I couldn't even like wine. I could tolerate a little bit, but beer is like and IPAs. You had to like really like it was an unenjoyable experience. It wasn't even fun by the time I got buzzed because like the taste was so bad. Again, this is from someone who was drinking sodas, you know.
Right.
So I'm used to flavor, and then I tried like rum and Coke, and I was like, "Yo, this is taken away from the Coke," you know, like this is nasty. Because I kept like I feel like my tongue just kept trying to find that Coke, but it was kept getting like rum. And then I found girl drinks. You know, everyone's gone to Mexico, and you get the when you were a kid, and you got the virgin strawberry daiquiris, virgin margaritas, virgin pina colada.
Dude, I'm huge on mixed drinks now.
Yeah, and then I found like the alcoholic drink of that, and those are extremely good and enjoyable.
No, 100%. My favorite, my go-to right now is Moscow Mules, man. You can't go wrong, and it's cheap too because the only alcohol is vodka. Like it's literally just vodka, lime juice, and ginger beer, and you can add other stuff you want to, but it's like super cheap. It goes a long way, and it's so tasty, man.
Oh, Colonel said ain't no laws when you drinking claws. I actually had my first White Claw on. I was at like a Euphoria themed party on I think it was Saturday night, and
what do you think?
So before the White Claw, I had a Truly. Have you ever had Truly?
They're not in Canada, I don't think. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I've never had one.
It's the seltzer water too, or the seltzer drink too. I enjoyed that more than the White Claw.
Okay.
But though, like the Truly, I was able to drink, but I have a low tolerance. So, for example, I drank a Truly and a White Claw, and I was feeling really good. I don't drink that much.
Okay.
But yeah, I was feeling really good.
We got to do a party stream.
Few traders have drinking problems on the high key though.
Oh yeah, no, bro, there's tons. Like,
it's fun, but I don't know. I always like. I don't know. I'd like doing it if I ever do anything like that, or you know, clouds. It'd be at night.
Yeah. No, it's funny, especially with COVID. Like, I don't know if traders were bad like before COVID or whatever, because I'm kind of a COVID trader, I guess you could say. But like, I was going to the LCBO. That's where Canadians go to buy alcohol, if you don't know. And I was like, so how are your sales like during COVID? And they're like, oh my God, they're up 80%. And I was like, holy fuck.
Yeah, dang, 80%.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it, man. 80%. That's yeah. Like they said, it's like it was insane. Like when COVID started and people were locked down, like everyone just started drinking. I mean, fair enough, But
are you based out of Canada? You're based out of Canada?
yeah, man, I'm in Toronto, Ontario.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know that. You ever meet? I know there's a few traders from Canada. Have you ever met up with anyone?
I did a small meetup just with some of my followers that lived in
Yeah.
Toronto, but I know like I learned that Neo's in Toronto as well, like the Desert Wolf.
Oh yeah.
He
Yeah.
lives like an hour from, or not? No, sorry, less than an hour. He lives like maybe 30 minutes from me. I was like, oh
Yeah,
shit.
Yeah, Scalper Ryan's there. Ace is
Yeah.
there. I don't know where they're at though.
Scalp
I think
Ryan's
Ace
far.
is actually near. Yeah, Scalper Ryan lives in the Boondocks, I think. But I think Ace lives near Toronto.
Yeah, I think Ace is close. Fappy's Canadian as well. He lives far from me though. Yeah, no, it's crazy. There's lots of traders out here. Our brokers suck, but we don't have PDT, so that's I guess how we make up for that.
Oh, that's also something to talk about too. What you guys have is commissions, and commissions is a
Yeah.
huge psychological barrier. They're just trading barrier to get over.
Yeah.
Always thinking, oh, I have to make this in the trade, because that brings your mind to what you're exactly not supposed to do. You're just supposed to trade the chart, but you're constantly thinking about the money behind it. I when Thinkorswim had commissions, and they still do for options, but when it had like expensive commissions, like more expensive commissions, of like what was it, like $10 round trip, I think.
Yeah. Usually it's $10.
Yeah, it was. I did not do well in trading during that stage. It was just too much on my mind, and then as soon as that went away, I wouldn't say I got like immediately better, but I think that is for anyone who does experience the problems with commissions. I do think that is another uphill battle that you have to deal with that a lot of people underestimate.
No, 100%. And if you are struggling with that and you do live in Canada, you're looking for an alternative. I trade with IBKR. It's the cheapest that you can get in Canada that I know of. I forget exactly what the commission is, but it's like a fraction of $10. I think it's like around. I want to say around or under $1, so it's really really cheap. The interface kind of sucks and it's kind of ugly to look at, but I would definitely recommend switching to IBKR if you're with Quest Trade. Definitely don't use Wealth Simple to day trade. You can't do it. What else do we have in Canada? They got rid of TOS. They got rid of Trade Zero. We can't use that anymore.
Oh, for people who are trading options, for whatever reason, it's not apparent, but do only use the cash account if you're below 50K, in my opinion.
Right.
I don't know if many people currently listening know that, but you do have next day settlement on options, so being below PDT is kind of not really the same excuse as it would be for commons if you're just day trading options.
Right, 100%. Yeah, I had the conversation with someone in my Discord earlier as well. Definitely use a cash account. I mean, I guess unless you have a massive account, you're taking, 20 shares of Tesla or something. But
Yeah.
Which some people do, and that's fair. But
That's actually how I learned to trade Tesla. I was like, yeah, I don't really want to battle the beast with options.
right.
But I knew it had very good moves. Like I think back when, what is even the range on Tesla nowadays? It's let's see, it's like.
Do you want to switch
what?
the screen share real quick?
Oh yeah, I forgot. It's like $800 now.
Yeah.
But when it was back around like 200, 300, you can put in like a trade, like you can have a really good trade. You can make like $50 off of the movement on Tesla, and you could still today, but there was a stream of income for a lot of people just trading like one contract or one actual share of Tesla, just because it had really good moves.
Right. Yeah, like how much do you say it runs? What's the range on it? Like $50 or something?
Yeah, it's currently trading at 879, which I wouldn't touch a comment on right now. But back when
Gotcha.
it was cheaper, you had really good range on it. You can get like 25, sometimes $50 per trade, I feel like.
That's insane.
Yeah, and that's good, right? Because if you had like But that becomes a problem if you're under PDT with the cash account, because you're gonna have to wait 2 days for those funds to settle. But you could get, $75 at the end of the day.
Yeah, that's wild. That's absolutely wild. Yeah, man. I think we'll kind of wrap things up there. Let me put together a group message with me, you, Bull Shark, and Maple Stacks, and we'll try to organize something for Friday. And then maybe we can plan like some kind of party stream one Friday coming up. I think that'd be a lot of fun. I don't know what we do. Maybe play some games or something. I'll try to set up like, I don't know, why can't I think of the word? Like I ask a question and then there's 4 answers. What's that? Trivia. Maybe we'll do trivia or something.
Yeah, hell yeah, I'm down.
That'd be sweet. But anyway, huge thanks for coming out tonight, Rhodesa. I truly, truly appreciate it. It was awesome to talk to you again and have a sweet dialogue. I might do these going forward on Monday and Wednesday nights. I know I do the Trader Spotlight, but I might bring back some familiar faces that have been on my show Monday and Wednesdays. So we'll probably see Rhodesa again. I'll try to get Maple Stacks on, Bull Shark, and some other familiar faces from Trader Spotlight, and then new ones will still be on the weekend. But make sure you guys are following Rhodesa out on Twitter, and make sure you're following his Twitch as well, Enlightenment Trading. He's doing some more Twitch streams again. When are you going to be live for that?
Yeah,
what's the plan?
I'm gonna go live tomorrow.
Awesome. What time?
Probably shortly after open.
Awesome.
That's like 30 minutes after open.
Okay, sweet. And so, can somebody drop the link for Rhodesa's Twitch in chat? I don't know if we have a shout out thing. Let me see. Oh, you're not in Twitch chat right now. Okay. Okay, they got it there. Thanks, Colonel. So there's his Twitch channel right there. Make sure you click it and catch him live tomorrow morning. And thank you for the follows tonight, guys. I truly appreciate it. I'm on the road to 4,000 followers on Twitch. Means a lot. Yeah, thanks for coming on, man. This was a lot of fun. And we'll chat probably tomorrow and Friday.
Yeah, likewise, man. It was nice speaking to you. Thank you for having me on.
100%. We'll do this again soon.
Legendary.
You are legendary.
Bye, my friend.
All right, man. Take care. All right, guys. That was the legendary Rhodesa. How's the stream tonight? Did you guys enjoy that? Type 1s in chat if you enjoyed the stream tonight. I think that was pretty cool. So we might do, like I said, we might do more of these going forward. I think they're a lot of fun. There's a lot to learn from these traders, and there's some context too. Once we're, the trading day just finished, and we can it's sort of like a review, but a review on the strategies more so. And I think that's pretty cool. I'm going to fix chat. Chat looks terrible now, and I don't know what happened, so. Thank you, Enlightenment Trading. Have a great night, guys. We'll see you in the next one. I love and appreciate every single one of you. 100 out.